So you wanted me to say a little bit, you'll find out a little bit about Happy City as we go along. Happy City has been going for about 5 or 6 years now. We're an organisation trying to put the well-being of people, place and planet at the very heart of how cities are run around the world. But we're based here in Bristol. Ironically, for a health day, I'm actually not very well today, so if I do disappear off, please forgive me, but I will do my very best to stay healthy enough to be with you throughout this session. I wanted to start with a quote from Robert Kennedy. He made a very famous speech back in 1968, which some of you may have heard, but I'm a bit of a believer in the fact you can't hear this particular speech often enough. So bear with me while I don't do him justice, because he was an amazing orator, but I will do my best. He said, "Too much and for too long we seem to have surrendered personal excellence and community values in the mere accumulation of material things. Our gross national product now is over $800 billion a year. But that gross national product, if we judge our country by that gross national product counts the air pollution and cigarette advertising and ambulances to clear our highways of carnage. It counts special locks for our doors and the jails for the people who break them. It counts the destruction of the redwood and the loss of our natural wonder in chaotic sprawl. It counts napalm and counts nuclear warheads and armoured cars for the police to fight the riots in our streets. It counts the television programmes which glorify violence in order to sell toys to our children. Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children, the quality of their education, or the joy of their play. It does not include the beauty of our poetry or the strength of our marriages, the intelligence of our public debate, or the integrity of our public officials. It measures neither our wit nor our courage, neither our wisdom nor our learning nor our compassion. It measures everything, in short, except that which makes life worthwhile." Well, as you can see, he knew how to string a few words together, but my belief is that he said those words in the year of my birth, which is a very long time ago, but it in some senses it feels a little dated with a few of the references, but from my perspective, the essence of it is still as true today as it was then. And I feel really, really strongly that when we confuse standard of living, which is what GDP tends to measure, with the quality of life, we don't just diminish ourselves, but we shift the focus of the whole system. If we judge our lives, our communities, our cities primarily through this lens, which we still do today, we necessarily breed inequality, ill health, resource depletion, and mental illness, just amongst many other things. I would argue, and some of you here will have heard me say this before, but I would argue that we need to totally rethink how we measure and define the health, in inverted commas, of our communities and our cities. The mental, the physical, social, environmental, economic and emotional are linked. We know this, we see it in our daily lives. And so we need to put better measures of all of these things at the heart of our city planning. We need to make them the goals and create measures that support that. And for me, this is not just measures about how do we measure the success or not of our health services, although that's important. But it needs to be a shared goal across sectors and across silos. When we start judging our businesses, our politicians, our education, health, cultural, environmental services on how they impact on the well-being of people, place and planet, we start demanding very, very different outcomes from all of those places. At Happy City, we're a small charity, but we've been developing with a lot of experts from around the world for the last 4 years something called the Happy City Index. It's an example at a city level of this shift that is beginning to happen at different parts of our world. And it's a shift towards this broader definition of health and well-being, not just being a sectoral thing. The index that we're developing combines a basket of measures of city drivers, the things that help create the conditions for people and places to thrive. Some of those things that I've mentioned, economics, culture, health, education, and many other things. And it combines that with a new measure of how people feel and function in their daily lives. How are people actually doing? How is their sense of belonging and connection? How is trust built up? How do we measure and understand ideas about isolation and connection? when you combine those things, it starts helping at lots of different levels in our society, I believe. It's designed to help individuals understand better their own health and well-being and how to build it for themselves and with each other. It helps communities better understand what interventions really support truly healthy communities and truly thriving lives. But also, when you've got all that data together, it helps policymakers to prioritise and focus resource on developing happier and healthier lives right across the city in every single community. Having piloted the project last year, we're planning to roll it out right across the city with many, many partners in this coming year, and we have interest from right across the world. And what's important to us is it's not just an annual snapshot. We're trying to create a pulse of the city to really understand what's happening in people's lives, their health, their well-being, their emotional, their social, and their environmental health. As for me, a happy or a healthy city is not just one that has a lack of illness or a lack of depression. It's one where every individual is supported to thrive, and where our choices today don't compromise that ability for people to thrive in the future. And I think until we start measuring, valuing and putting as our goal those sorts of fundamental ideas about health right across our cities, then truly, truly healthy cities are still going to be a very distant dream.